My girlfriend slept with her ex while lying to me about going to yoga class, so I sent roses to his door, and what happened next made her lose everything. I, Ben, 30 male, have my life together for the most part, and I don't do drama. At least I didn't until my girlfriend Martha moved into my condo and turned my quiet place into a 24/7 reality show. We'd been together a little over 2 years. The first 6 months were great. She laughed at my dumb jokes, cooked on Sundays, and posted those "can't believe I got this man" photos online like I was a prize. I actually thought we were solid. Friends called us the power couple. My co-workers said I was lucky. Truth was, I thought so too. She moved into my condo after a year. It was supposed to be temporary, just while her lease was ending, but her stuff slowly multiplied like gremlins. At first it was cute, one extra toothbrush, a pair of slippers. Then it was boxes, makeup everywhere, and me losing half my closet. "You don't even wear half of this," she said one night, tossing my old jacket in a donation pile. That should have been the first red flag. She was rearranging my life like it was hers. Martha had a way of convincing people she was perfect. Pretty face, confident voice, fake empathy. She'd smile and ask about your day, but never really listen. I figured that out too late. And then there was Chad, her best friend, the ex who didn't mean anything. Yeah, that's Chad, the man-shaped red flag in a hoodie. The first time she brought him up, she said, "I told Chad about that restaurant you like. He said you have good taste." I remember looking at her like, why are we talking about your ex complimenting me? That's when the little things started. She'd get texts at weird hours. She'd laugh at her phone, tilted away when I walked by. When I asked, it was just Chad sending memes. I told her, "You know that's not normal, right?" And that sparked the first real fight. It wasn't a yelling match at first. It was worse. She gave me that calm, patient voice people use when they're about to call you crazy. "Ben, you're being paranoid. Chad and I are friends. You can't expect me to cut people off just because you're insecure." I said, "It's not about being insecure. It's about respect." She got defensive immediately. "Wow, so now I can't even talk to someone who was part of my life before you." That's controlling, Ben. Controlling. That word stuck. She threw it around like it was proof she was the victim. I wasn't accusing, I was just asking for boundaries. But she twisted it, that's what she did best. Flipped the script. She cried after that. Actual tears, mascara and everything. "I can't believe you think so little of me," she said, hands shaking just enough to look sincere. "I thought you trusted me." And like an idiot, I backed down. I told myself maybe she really was just friends with the guy. I made a deal with her, one I thought was fair. I said, "Fine, keep your friendship, but no secrets. I want complete transparency. No late-night calls, no random visits, no we just ran into each other nonsense. You tell me up front." She agreed immediately, too easily honestly, like she couldn't wait to close the conversation and move on. That night, I remember lying in bed thinking I'd handled it well, like I was being the mature one. But deep down, something felt off. Her apology was too neat, too practiced, like someone who said it before. Over the next few months, she was all smiles and sweetness again, posted more pictures, bought me random gifts, acted like the perfect girlfriend. But there was this strange shift. She started controlling the narrative. Whenever we were out with friends, she'd joke about how Ben's the protective one, or he gets jealous over my old friends. Everyone would laugh, but it painted me as the clingy boyfriend before I could even defend myself. That's when I realized something ugly. She wasn't just lying to me. She was managing me. She knew exactly which buttons to press to make me doubt my own instincts. It's like she wanted to train me into silence. I realized it wasn't just about trust anymore. It was about how she made me feel like the bad guy for noticing the truth. That's the day the relationship started dying. Not because of Chad, not because of cheating, but because I finally stopped letting her make me feel guilty for seeing through her act. And when that happened, everything else started to come into focus. For the next couple of months, Martha acted like she had read a guide called "How to Be the Perfect Girlfriend After Gaslighting Your Boyfriend." She cooked, cleaned, laughed at my jokes again. Even asked about my day like she cared. Chad gone. Vanished from every conversation. No mentions. No. Chad said this funny thing nonsense. If I didn't know better, I'd think she'd changed. But I did know better. It was the quiet kind of peace that felt fake, like she was building a stage version of our relationship just for me to watch while she rehearsed something else backstage. At first, I let it slide. I had work projects, deadlines, life stuff. I wasn't about to be the paranoid boyfriend checking her phone every time she sneezed, but little things started standing out again. First, it was the canceled plans. We'd have a dinner reservation or movie tickets or even something small like grocery shopping together. And she'd text, "Hey babe, sorry, last-minute work thing. Can we do tomorrow?" Tomorrow would come, and she'd be all tired and dramatic like she just solved world peace at the office. But then Friday night rolled around, and suddenly she had energy for girls' night. Full makeup, hair done, and a perfume strong enough to knock out a horse. I'm not an idiot. You don't go from half-dead on Tuesday to runway ready on Friday unless there's a reason. One night, I decided to call her out a little. She was getting ready to go help her coworker with the presentation. I leaned against the doorway and said, "You sure this coworker isn't named Chad?" She froze for a split second, just a tiny pause, but I caught it. Then she forced a laugh. "Oh my God, are we doing this again?" I said, "No, I'm just not stupid. You're acting sketchy, Martha." She didn't like that answer. She mumbled something under her breath and stormed out. The next week, she overcompensated again. Extra affectionate random texts saying she missed me. Brought lunch to my job just because. It was the kind of behavior people do when they're trying to rewrite a narrative. I noticed a pattern. Every time I questioned her, she'd tighten up, vanish for a few days, then come back acting like the model girlfriend, like hitting a reset button on guilt. There was another thing, the phone. She started keeping it face down all the time, and I mean everywhere, on the table, the counter, the couch. I tested it once by flipping it over casually. The lock screen flashed with a notification, before she snatched it away so fast you'd think I grabbed a live grenade. "Wow," I said. "Didn't know work emails made people sprint." She glared at me. "You're paranoid again." I leaned forward. "And you're hiding something again. Look, Martha, I'm not playing this game. If I find out there's something going on, this is done. No long talk, no second chances. I'm not going to be the guy who gets lied to." That shut her up for a second. She blinked like she didn't expect me to actually stand up for myself. Then she went into her usual routine, the soft voice, the baby, "I love you" tone. "You're overthinking it, Ben. You always do that when things are good." "I'm just busy." "Busy? Yeah. Okay. Busy keeping up two lives." The next weekend, she was supposedly at her friend Sarah's house. I called Sarah to ask if she could tell Martha to bring home my charger. Sarah sounded confused and said, "Martha's not here. She said she was spending the evening with you." That's when I knew for sure she was lying. I didn't blow up. I didn't yell. I just hung up, sat there for a while and stared at the ceiling. That night, I knew it wasn't paranoia anymore. She was lying, plain and simple. I didn't have proof yet. But I didn't need much more, and if I found it, she'd be out of my life before she could blink. I already checked out on her. In my mind, we were over. 2 days later, I was paying our shared phone bill online when I noticed a tab I hadn't clicked before: Manage Devices. Curiosity got the better of me. Inside that menu was something called Location Sharing. I could see her phone listed right under mine. We'd set it up months ago for safety back when things were good. All it took was one toggle. Click Done. No password, no prompt, nothing. I stared at the screen for a good minute, half expecting a pop-up to ask, "Are you sure you want to catch your girlfriend lying?" I told myself it was for safety, but we both know that was a lie. I just wanted proof. That night, she was getting dressed in her usual fake rush. Yoga pants, oversized hoodie, hair up in that I'm sporty and chill way she always did when she wanted to look effortless. She grabbed her mat and said, "Late class tonight, don't wait up, okay." "Yoga?" I asked, pretending to scroll through my phone. She smiled like she was proud of the excuse. "Yeah, it's a new class. They added a late session." I nodded. "Cool. Don't forget your water bottle." As soon as the door shut, I opened the location app. The little blue dot representing her phone didn't move toward the gym. It went the other way, across town. I zoomed in. The map stopped on a street I knew too well. I dropped her off there once months ago. Chad Street. My chest didn't even tighten. No panic, no shaking hands, just a quiet kind of calm that only shows up when your brain finally catches up to reality. I zoomed in further, and there it was. The dot parked exactly where Chad's condo complex sat. "Late yoga class, huh?" I muttered, grabbing my coffee and taking a slow sip. I took a screenshot, then another one 5 minutes later. The timestamp was right there. I even labeled the file. Martha Yoga Session Liar.jpg. I didn't text her. That's what she'd expect. Drama, yelling, accusations she could twist into your crazy later. I wasn't giving her that story. I just wanted facts. Around 9:30, the dot hadn't moved. I clicked out of the app and opened my bank account instead. If she was lying to me, I wasn't about to keep funding her side. I removed her as an authorized user from my main Visa card and canceled every shared subscription we had. Netflix, Spotify, utilities, all of it. Petty, maybe. Satisfying? Absolutely. Next was the utilities. I logged into the electric and internet portals and changed all passwords. The condo was in my name anyway, but I wasn't leaving any door unlocked, physical or digital. By 10 p.m., I already had a plan forming. I wasn't going to confront her with screenshots like some detective begging for honesty. No, I was going to make her reveal herself. Let her dig her own hole so deep she couldn't talk her way out. At 10:40, she texted, still finishing up at yoga, exhausted. Might stop for tea after. I laughed out loud. Tea? Sure. At Chad's. I didn't even reply. I took one last screenshot. Her phone still parked at the same building. I didn't need to track her anymore. One lie was enough. I spent the rest of the night cleaning. Not emotionally, literally cleaning. Threw out her leftover takeout, folded my laundry, reorganized my desk. It felt weirdly therapeutic, like I was clearing space for the peace I knew was coming. She got home a little after midnight. I heard her keys rattle, the usual routine. Light footsteps, fake sigh. She tiptoed in like a kid sneaking past curfew. Hey, she said softly. You still up? Yeah, I said without looking away from the TV. She kicked off her shoes. Class was brutal tonight. My legs are killing me. Oh, yeah. Hope you stretched first, I said, tone flat. Of course, she said, smiling like she thought I was flirting. You don't believe me? Why wouldn't I asked. You've never lied before. Made her blink. I could see the flicker of fear for half a second before she smoothed it over. You sound weird, she said, forcing a laugh. You okay? I didn't answer, just muted the TV, stood up, and headed to the bedroom. Her eyes followed me the whole way, probably wondering what I knew. I didn't plan on confronting her yet, not until I could end it my way. Something clean, quiet, unforgettable, the kind of ending that didn't need shouting to make the point clear. Funny thing is, the next day was supposed to be our anniversary. I'd made the dinner reservation weeks earlier, back when I still thought she was the person I'd grow old with. The place was one of those high-end restaurants you had to book a month out. Her favorite spot. She'd been talking about it all week, pretending to be excited, probably while texting Chad under the table. I went to work like nothing happened. No texts, no arguments, no clues. She was about to get her world flipped. Around 5 o'clock, my phone buzzed. I didn't even have to look to know who it was. Hey babe, I'm so sorry. My boss just dropped a massive deadline on me. I have to stay late tonight. I feel awful. Can we celebrate this weekend instead? Love you. I stared at the message for a good 10 seconds. I could almost picture her typing it from Chad's couch, probably in one of his hoodies, pretending to be stressed about work while lying through her teeth. I opened the location app just for confirmation. Sure enough, her little blue dot was parked at Chad's condo, and it hadn't moved since morning. Funny how her massive deadlines always seem to happen from Chad's couch. No gym, no office, no deadline, just Chad. Later, when she got canned for attendance issues, this made perfect sense. I didn't feel angry anymore, I just felt sharp. It's strange how calm you get when you finally stop hoping someone will change. I leaned back in my chair and thought, all right, Martha, let's make tonight special after all. That's when I called Eli. Eli and I had been friends since high school. He owned a flower delivery business, the kind that handled big events and weddings. I told him everything in about 30 seconds flat. He whistled low. Damn, dude. You want me to drop off something subtle or something that'll make her choke on her lies? Option B, I said, and make it poetic. We started planning it right there. Right. I told him to send the biggest bouquet of red roses he had, the kind that takes 2 people to carry. Martha's allergic to roses, not hospital-level allergic. Just sneeze like she got hit with pepper allergic. She used to joke about it all the time. If you ever send me roses, I'll know you don't love me. Perfect. Add a note, I said. Make sure it's handwritten. What do you want it to say? I smiled to myself. Write this exactly to Martha. Hope your work meeting goes well tonight. Love, Ben. Eli laughed so hard he had to mute himself. Oh man, this is evil. You sure you want it under your name? Yeah, I said. She's expecting me to play dumb. Let's ruin her script. I texted him Chad's exact address, unit number and all. By 6:30, Eli texted me. Leaving the shop now. We'll call you after the drop. I sat on my couch, calm as ever. Netflix was running in the background, but I wasn't watching. I was picturing the scene in my head. The delivery guy, my friend, showing up at Chad's door. Martha smiling, thinking it's takeout. Chad opening it. The confusion, the note, the roses, the sneezing. At 7:15, my phone rang. "Eli, you're not going to believe this," he said, already laughing. I just dropped it off. "Dude, it was perfect." "Tell me everything," I said. He started recounting the whole thing word for word. He told me that he got to Chad's building, he buzzed the unit and waited. Chad answered the door in gym shorts and a confused expression. The kind of look guys have when they think everything in their life is going fine and have no clue they're seconds away from chaos. Behind him was Martha, barefoot, hair a mess. Wearing those leggings she called her yoga uniform. She looked like she just rolled out of his bed and into a lie. Eli held up the giant bouquet of roses and said it was for her. She hesitated, blinking like she couldn't process her own name. Chad frowned and asked if she'd ordered something. She shook her head, clearly panicking. But Eli was a professional. He just smiled and handed her the flowers anyway. That's when she saw the little white card tucked between the stems. She pulled it out, read the first line, and froze. Her face went pale, then red before she could even form a sentence. The allergies kicked in. She started sneezing hard, one after another, rubbing her nose and trying to explain herself mid-sneeze. Chad took the card from her hand and read it himself. To Martha, "Hope your work meeting goes well tonight. Love, Ben." Eli said the room went dead silent. Martha was still sneezing and mumbling excuses. Chad was staring at her like he'd just seen a ghost, and the massive bouquet stood between them like a confession wrapped in red petals. He didn't stick around for round two. As soon as Chad said, "Work meeting," Eli turned and walked out before something got thrown. When he told me the story, I couldn't stop laughing. The visual alone, her sneezing her lungs out while Chad finally put the puzzle together, was better than any revenge speech I could have given in person. I leaned back and laughed, a real laugh this time. "You're a legend." "Happy anniversary, man," Eli said. "Hope she enjoyed the bouquet." When we hung up, I felt lighter than I had in months. There's something satisfying about justice served cold. No yelling, no name-calling, just truth delivered with a bow on it. At around 8, my phone started buzzing nonstop. I didn't even need to look. The first few texts came from Martha. "What the hell is wrong with you? Are you stalking me? You could have made me sick. We need to talk right now." Then came the calls. I ignored everyone. I turned my phone face down and let it vibrate itself to death on the coffee table. A few minutes later, a new message popped up. "It's not what you think. Please just answer. Sure, because that line always fixes everything." I turned the phone off. Complete silence. It was the most peaceful sound I'd heard in 2 years. I didn't care if she sneezed for an hour. I didn't care if Chad finally realized what kind of liar he'd let into his apartment. I didn't care about the chaos I'd caused in that condo. What mattered was that she knew. She knew I knew. And she knew it was over. That night, I ordered a pizza, put my feet up, and watched the game. No yelling, no explanations, no begging. Just me, my couch, and the knowledge that I just ended the relationship in the cleanest, smartest way possible. When I finally went to bed, I had one last thought before falling asleep. Roses are red, and so is her face. For once, the condo was quiet. No fake affection, no fake apologies, just peace. That peace lasted all of 3 hours. Around 11 p.m., I saw movement on the doorbell camera. Martha. She was still dressed in the same leggings from earlier. Nose red, eyes puffy from either tears or her allergy, or maybe both. She stood outside holding her purse like it was a weapon. I didn't move. I watched her fumble with her keys for a bit before finally unlocking the door. The second she stepped in, she started yelling, "What the hell is wrong with you, Ben?" Her voice cracked. "Do you think that was funny? Do you know how humiliated I was?" I didn't even look away from the TV. "Hi to you too." She threw her purse on the floor. "You embarrassed me in front of Chad. You made me look insane." I raised an eyebrow. "You didn't need my help for that." Her eyes widened. "You're sick. You knew I'm allergic. Do you realize how bad that could have been?" "Yeah," I said calmly. "Mild sneezing, watery eyes, maybe a rash. Pretty much what happens every time you lie. It shows up on your face." She blinked, caught off guard. Then the crying started. The kind she used to weaponize. Shoulders shaking, hands covering her mouth like she couldn't believe what was happening. "I can't believe you did that to me. You invaded my privacy. You sent something to someone's house. Do you realize how crazy that looks?" "Crazy?" I finally turned to her. "You've been lying to my face for months. You've been sleeping with your ex while living in my condo, using my money and pretending it's all fine. I don't think I'm the crazy one here." She flinched, but her tone snapped right back to defensive. "You don't know anything. Chad and I were just talking. You always twist things. You're paranoid." "Right," I said. "You two must have a lot to talk about in yoga pants at 10 at night." Her jaw clenched. "I can explain." "Don't bother." I cut her off. "You've already explained enough times. I'm done listening." That stopped her cold. "What do you mean, done?" "I mean, you have 30 days to get your stuff out. Everything. Clothes, makeup, shoes, all of it." She stared at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. "You can't just kick me out. I live here." I stood up, calm but firm. "No, you don't. Your name's not on the deed. You've been a guest here for a year. And now the guest pass is expired." Her voice started to shake. "You're throwing away 2 years of us over one mistake." "One mistake," I said, laughing under my breath. "You didn't trip and fall into his apartment, Martha. You made a schedule for it." That was it. She stomped down the hall to the bedroom, muttering something about me being heartless. I let her go. I wasn't going to argue anymore. I went to bed that night, lights off, door to the bedroom shut. She slammed drawers and cried for a while, but I didn't move. The next morning, I woke up early. The condo felt like it was holding its breath. Around 9 o'clock a.m., I heard voices outside. Her parents, great reinforcements. They came in like they were storming a courtroom. Her dad looked furious, her mom already crying. "I cannot believe this, Ben. Her mother started after everything Martha has done for you. This is how you repay her, kicking her out over some misunderstanding." I kept my tone calm. "Misunderstanding? Is that what she told you?" Her dad crossed his arms. "She said you embarrassed her publicly, sent something inappropriate to a friend's house." I nodded slowly. "Friend's house? That's one way to describe Chad's condo." Her mom froze. "Excuse me?" "Yeah," I said. "She was at Chad's when she texted me about her work emergency. I sent roses to congratulate her on her big meeting. I'm sure you saw how that went." Her father's face fell. He looked at Martha, who was standing behind them, red-eyed and silent. "Is that true?" Martha didn't answer, just sniffled. I folded my arms. "Before you lecture me, you should probably know I caught her lying about where she was going multiple times. She's been seeing him for months. I didn't yell, didn't break anything, didn't even confront her. I just sent a message she couldn't talk her way out of." Her mother's voice dropped. "Roses? You sent roses?" "Yep." Her parents went quiet. The silence was heavier than any shouting match could have been. Her dad rubbed his temples and sighed. "Martha, go pack your things." She looked like she might explode. "Dad, you're just taking his side." "I'm taking the side of facts," he said firmly. "Get your stuff." For the next 2 hours, the condo turned into a war zone of cardboard boxes and quiet rage. Martha moved around, grabbing clothes and slamming drawers. Her mom tried to help, shooting me glares every few minutes, but didn't say another word. Her dad carried boxes down to the car without looking at me once. I didn't help. I sat on the couch, coffee in hand, watching, not out of cruelty, just clarity. It wasn't my mess to clean anymore. At exactly noon, the last box was gone. Her dad shut the trunk, and Martha stood by the passenger door, arms crossed. "You'll regret this," she said, voice trembling. I shrugged. "Doubt it." She got in the car, slammed the door, and they drove off. The moment their taillights disappeared, I exhaled. The condo was finally quiet again. Not fake quiet, not the kind where you're waiting for the next argument. Real quiet. I walked back inside, grabbed my laptop and started cleaning house for good. Double-checked that every subscription and account I'd already locked down was still canceled, closed the joint card, and changed every remaining password. The more I deleted her access, the lighter I felt. When it was done, I sat back on the couch, the same spot where she'd yelled at me the night before, and let the silence sink in. No texts, no crying, no manipulation, just me and peace for the first time in months. And it felt better than any revenge ever could. The silence lasted 2 days. 2 full days of peace. No calls, no messages, no apologies, disguised as excuses. I almost started to believe Martha had finally accepted defeat. But peace never lasts long when someone like her is involved. On the morning of the 3rd day, my doorbell camera went off. I checked the screen and nearly laughed. Chad. He stood there looking like he hadn't slept in days, face red with anger. I didn't answer right away. Let him stew. When he rang again, I opened the door just enough to make eye contact. "What do you want?" I asked. He shoved a hand through his hair. "We need to talk, man." "No, we really don't," I said. "You and I aren't on the same team." He took a step forward, trying to wedge his way in, but I didn't move. "You think this is funny, don't you? You ruined my life." That made me laugh. "Oh, did my flowers attack your conscience?" He glared. "You think you're clever? Because of you, Jessica left me." She packed up and walked out. "You happy now?" I leaned against the doorframe, calm as ever. "You mean your girlfriend found out you were cheating?" "Yeah, I'm good with that outcome." He pointed a finger at me. "You don't get it. One of my neighbors saw the delivery guy and told Jessica about it. She asked questions. Things got twisted, and now she thinks I've been sleeping with Martha behind her back." "Twisted?" I said. "You were sleeping with her behind her back." "That's not the point," he snapped. "Oh, it's exactly the point," I said, "and now it's the consequence." His voice went up a notch. "You have to fix this. You have to call Jessica and tell her the flowers were a misunderstanding. That you—" "Let me stop you there," I interrupted. "You want me to lie to your girlfriend to cover your affair?" "The same affair that destroyed my relationship." "I'm good." "Thanks. You're a jerk," he said. "You think you're better than everyone, huh?" "Yes," I said evenly. "And smarter." His nostrils flared. "You're going to regret this." That's when I pulled my phone out and held it up. Camera already recording. "You want to repeat that for the video?" He froze. The tough guy act dropped instantly. His shoulders slumped like he suddenly remembered what accountability felt like. "You're recording me?" he said, voice shaky now. "Yep," I said, smile for the camera. "This way, when you do something stupid later, I'll have proof." He stared at me for a few seconds, then turned and stomped off down the hall, muttering curses. I watched him on the camera feed all the way to his car. He slammed the door and sped off. I went back inside, saved the video, labeled it Idiot Threat 1.mp4, and emailed it to myself just in case. You can't be too careful with unstable people who just lost their backup plan. A few days later, I got a notification from my bank. Suspicious activity detected. It was an old department store account we'd opened years ago when we bought the couch. She still had a card linked and tried to buy $2,000 worth of gift cards. The system froze it instantly. I spent half an hour with the fraud department, filed a report, and closed the account for good. I couldn't even be mad, just impressed by her consistency. Even when caught, she found time to double down on stupidity. 2 days after that, I started hearing rumors. A buddy from work texted me, "Hey man, did you really stalk your ex?" That's how I found out Martha and Chad had started a smear campaign. Apparently, the news story was that I'd been harassing them both for months and tracking Martha's phone. I laughed out loud reading that. It was so predictable. People like them always rewrite the script when they lose control. Instead of reacting, I did what I do best. Documented everything. Screenshots of their posts, text messages from mutuals, even a few voice notes people forwarded me. The pattern was obvious. Martha trying to spin the narrative. Chad backing her up like a loyal idiot. I didn't respond publicly. I didn't post anything or argue online. Silence is more powerful when you know you're right. The only person who seemed to believe them was Martha herself. Every few days, I'd see her name pop up as a restricted call. Never answered. She sent a few emails too. Apologies disguised as explanations. "I never meant to hurt you. I just needed closure." Stuff like that. I deleted them all. One evening, I was closing my laptop when another notification popped up. An unfamiliar email address with the subject line, "You deserve to know the truth." Normally, I'd have ignored something like that, but the preview showed the sender's name, Jessica. The girlfriend Chad had lost. The message was short, but direct. "Hey Ben, this might sound strange, but I heard everything. I know what really happened between them. I have proof, and you should see it. Can we meet?" I replied with one line. "Name the place." For the first time in weeks, I wasn't just cleaning up after her lies. I was about to flip the whole story on its head. Jessica wasn't just another casualty of Martha's manipulation. She was the missing piece. And if Martha thought she'd already lost everything, she hadn't seen anything yet. Jessica and I met the next evening at a quiet coffee shop near downtown. She walked in looking like someone who'd been through a storm, but was finally out of it. She didn't waste time. The second she sat down, she opened her laptop. "I figured you'd want to see this," she said, turning the screen toward me. There it was, a full text thread between Martha and Chad. Pages of messages. My name appeared in half of them. She sent, "He's too predictable. Pays every bill on time. Once I get what I need from him, I'm gone. Don't worry, I'll play the victim. He hates confrontation." Chad replied, "You sure he won't find out?" Martha sent, "He's clueless. Even if he did, I'd flip it on him. Guys like that always apologize." Jessica scrolled through dozens more messages about their plans, about how they'd split whatever they could get out of me, credit, savings, even my furniture. I just sat there calm. I'd already run out of shock weeks ago. Now it was just clarity. "You kept all this?" I asked. She nodded. "I thought about deleting it, but after what they did, I wanted it documented. I don't want either of them to crawl out of this untouched." She clicked another folder. Screenshots of Martha bragging to a friend about getting compensation after the breakup. Her words, "He'll feel guilty and pay up. He always does." Jessica looked me dead in the eye. "I'm willing to sign a statement, sworn and notarized. Whatever you need," I nodded slowly. "Then we're done playing defense." 2 weeks later, a thick envelope showed up in my mailbox. Fancy letterhead, lots of legal wording. It was from Martha's lawyer. The letter claimed I had caused her emotional distress, financial instability, and public humiliation. They demanded a financial settlement to avoid escalation. I laughed so hard I had to sit down. She really thought she could spin this into a payday. I called my lawyer, handed him the letter and said, "Make it hurt." He didn't disappoint. A week later, my lawyer sent his response, a masterpiece of legal demolition. It was short, precise, and nuclear. Exhibit A, a clear doorstep video of Chad showing up uninvited, shouting and threatening me. Proof of actual harassment, not whatever emotional abuse nonsense they were claiming. My lawyer attached a full transcript and timestamps to highlight every threat and line of aggression. Exhibit B, the official fraud report from the bank showing Martha's failed $2,000 gift card purchase attempt. Clear evidence of intent to defraud. Exhibit C, Jessica's signed and notarized affidavit, including Martha's own text plotting to exploit me financially. Screenshots attached. The final paragraph of my lawyer's response ended with, "If Ms. Martha does not immediately withdraw her claims and cease all defamatory communications, our client will pursue legal action for harassment, defamation, and conspiracy to commit fraud. Full damages and attorney's fees will be sought." That letter went out on a Thursday. By Monday morning, Martha's lawyer called mine directly. Case withdrawn. No apology, no follow-up, just quiet surrender. After that, there was nothing. No texts, no calls, no new rumors. She vanished. 6 months later, a mutual acquaintance filled me in. Martha was renting a small apartment on the west side of town. She'd lost her full-time job after attendance issues and was bouncing between temp agencies. Word was she still brought up my name sometimes, claiming I'd ruined her life. Meanwhile, Chad's social circle completely froze him out. Jessica had shown a few people those screenshots, and apparently his reputation crumbled overnight. Even his own friends didn't trust him anymore. Last anyone heard, he was sleeping on his brother's couch trying to find himself. My life went back to normal. Better than normal, actually. Sometimes I'd catch myself laughing at how everything had played out. All that drama, all that lying, just to end up exposed by her own arrogance. I never heard from Martha again. Not directly anyway, but every now and then I'd get a spam email from some temp service or random career coaching site with her name listed as a referrer. Probably her way of pretending she'd moved on. I didn't reply. She could pretend all she wanted. People always say closure is overrated. I disagree. Sometimes closure looks like peace and quiet, bills paid on time, and knowing the person who tried to ruin you is struggling to keep the lights on. I don't hate her. Hate takes energy, and she's not worth any. I just hope every time she smells roses, she remembers that night. The doorbell, the flowers, Chad's face, the sneezing. Some people get flowers for love. She got hers for closure.